Okay, good. So good evening, everybody. Glad to see you're here. My name is Liz Axelson. I'm the planning consultant to the CPU Comprehensive Plan Update Committee. And I sent you guys out a couple of emails. One I sent out, I think it was on May 30th. Yeah, because that's the day all the town halls were closed and I got a lot done. And that was with the survey results from SurveyMonkey. So we'll get to that in a minute. And then today I sent out another email and it gives you scanned copies of the survey responses for people who actually filled out the CPU committee questionnaire survey on paper with pen and ink. So you have scanned copies of that. And in the email I sent out today, I kind of gave you a little bit of an agenda. And the agenda for today's Comprehensive Plan Committee update meeting, the first item I was hoping to only just go over for a few minutes, which is to try to put some kind of a web page up for the Comprehensive Plan Update Committee. And I listed a bunch of items that could go on there. And I'm mindful that Greg Totino and Debbie Colonna, who are the webmasters, are pretty busy. So we might have to wait a week or two to start putting things up. Does anybody have any comments on the list of items to put on there?
Yeah,
Looks like you covered everything.
Yeah, the list looked very, it looked acceptable to me. So Greg, what do you guys think? What do you think in terms of doing that assignment since you both are full? Like, because that was.
I'm sorry, Kenya, I was muted there. Can you just clarify exactly when you say in terms of doing the assignment? Are you asking for a time frame? Are you asking for the logistics?
Yeah, we need I think we would need a time frame. Like we can't just if we want the web page to go up and we want to make sure that we get all the information on there so that we community has access. We need to know, at least anticipate like when that can happen. You know what I mean?
Creating the page itself, it takes about 5 minutes. It's uploading content to it, which will be a slightly longer process because all of that copy, any additional visual aids, etc. If we're going to go with graphical thing, any content that has to get placed on there then has to be created, designed, input, and formatted. And that is by far the longer part of the process. Actually, creating a landing page for the comprehensive plan is the work of 5 minutes, but putting stuff on it takes longer. So, in terms of creating a page, we could have a page created by Friday, but getting stuff onto it, that might take, closer to the end of the month to have it, I'd say, fully operational, containing everything that we want it to contain.
Well, okay, let me just go ahead.
No. I just was going to say, like, if you want to speak to Debbie Colonna and then shoot the team an email letting us know. Like, I wasn't just asking for the beginning. We need the whole thing. Like, one thing without the other makes no sense. So you guys together would know what that would look like for both of you in terms of your schedule and what you already have on your plate. So maybe you two could update us, but we need to know a date so that we have it there and then we try to live by it. If something happens and we can't live by it, then we can push it back. But without a date of expectation, it just leaves us open to whenever. That's just my opinion.
Yeah, Kenya, I can meet with Debbie on that this week and give you a general ETA for it, so that the committee can have a general sense of when it'll be working. And obviously, if there were to be anything to get us ahead or behind schedule, we can communicate that as well.
Yeah, and the other thing is, if you and Debbie look at that list and have a feeling of what's easiest to put up first, and we need to go in phases, you guys can think about that and let us know.
Okay, that sounds like a plan.
Okay. I would think the videos, if there's any way to do those, that might.
We can certainly post the links, but the website format that we currently use, bearing in mind that the town will be investing in an updated website in the next 12 months. I know that both of our council members who are liaising this committee have identified a need there. I think that's pretty well recognized. But that process moving into next year is great. For now, actually embedding videos on the web page is possible, but it's very inefficient.
I gotcha.
It really drops the optimization
So
of the
maybe
website, particularly
that's
for
not
mobile users.
right.
So we could certainly provide links to them where, click the link and it'll bring you to a new page. But actually uploading them as a viewable video within the town website itself is not necessarily advisable.
Gotcha. So maybe that shouldn't be a first priority, maybe materials. So we can talk about that. You guys let us know.
Certainly.
Could I ask a question? This is mainly, I think, addressed to Greg. I think at one point, Greg, you had said that if the committee needed or wanted like written summaries of meetings, that might be possible. And I would say if we're going to set up a web page, that might be the kind of thing that would be good to put on it. I certainly wouldn't say we should go back and do meeting summaries of past meetings, but maybe moving forward, it might create a good record of what the committee's been talking about. In addition, some people probably don't want to see like a whole video of a whole meeting, but the kind of summary I'm talking about is just like a one-page synopsis of what happened at a meeting. So if that's something, maybe you could think about that, Greg, and if it seems like something you could do, that would certainly be appreciated.
I'd be happy to do that for future meetings. No issue at all. As for going backwards, I'm not sure how efficient that would be. That would certainly take quite a while.
Yeah, and I don't think I would expect that, but yeah, moving forward, I think would be a good idea.
Certainly, that can be done.
Okay.
It's just a little, click for, I'm not even going to say meeting minutes, but we could say meeting notes, et cetera.
Yeah, meeting notes or summary. Yeah.
Highlights, whatever.
That would be great.
Yeah, that can be done.
And then I would think one of the other things that might be nice, if possible, to put on would be the survey questionnaire results. The only thing, well, I can get to that in a minute, but that might be a document. I don't know if that's easy to put up. I really have no idea. You're the wizard, Greg, so we can figure this out as we go.
Liz, yeah, doing a survey questionnaire results, if we have that in like PDF format, yeah.
You have it. Yep.
Easily, we can easily put that up there.
You have it, and the only thing I'm trying to figure out is I might use Bluebeam to actually add in results from the written ones. So
yeah, I'd be happy to hold off on publishing it until you recalculate the percentages and response numbers for each question based on those paper copies which we received. But yeah, linking that is, that's again the work of a minute and a half. That's not a problem.
Okay, good to know.
It's just finding that minute and a half in my schedule.
Of course. All right. Any other thoughts on the website?
No, I think it would be great. Once we get it up, it'll be quite an accomplishment, I think.
Yeah. Yep. Okay. Well, that's all I had for that little segment. And our timing is awesome. And I guess I just figured that we could spend some time looking over and, reacting to any of the survey results. I have it that I could share.
Liz,
yeah.
Liz, before you do that, again, I'm a little bit concerned about the number of members that we have.
Well, that's kind of up to the town board.
Well, and I don't know. I go, Greg, do you know if the supervisor did send out, or did you send out a letter to the people who have not showed up yet?
I was not instructed to take any action based on your recommendation, sir.
We as far are you talking about removing people that aren't showing up? Is that what you're saying?
Brian, you're a little bit faint on me, so I didn't hear that.
Okay. Are you talking about the removal of people? Is that what you're saying?
I'm just talking about we're not having people show up at the meetings, and I do not know why. I've asked that the committee, I suggested we drop the people. The committee recommended that a letter be sent to all the people who have not been showing up, asking them what their intentions are. And I gather that was not done.
No, I talked to the supervisor, and we just feel like there's, people who are listed as members. We don't know what's going on in their lives, and they may come back, they may not, they may be reading, we don't know, but we just need to proceed. There's just doesn't seem to be a qualitative purpose in, asking people to just leave the committee at this point.
No, he's saying, no.
Yeah.
He's
Saying, right,
reminding
exactly.
them.
Right.
Nobody's asking anyone to leave. I believe, and Fred, I agree with you. If someone
If people aren't showing up,
meeting, then that should be considered. But the first
Right.
thing to do is go ahead and ask them if they,
Right.
and maybe that they just dropped off and assumed that we would just know that they don't want to be on it anymore.
right.
So I think it's in everybody's best interest to send out a message and remind them and see if they're still interested. And if they don't intend to come to any more meetings, then why wouldn't we drop them? They may,
I agree.
So let's
I
just
agree.
see what we need to get in touch with them. That's the important.
Right.
But just to understand, and again, Megan, jump in here if I'm wrong. It's up to the town board whether they were appointed
Correct.
in the first place. So if somebody's going to be dropped, it's the committee doesn't have any.
Right.
Right.
Okay. And I also kind of just feel like it's a good thing to ask a question and maybe encourage people to come back. And I think the more positive
Yes.
the message can be, right?
Yes.
Yeah. And I don't like the idea of dropping just simply because, I don't know.
Well,
I've seen planning boards go through a process in many towns where if somebody doesn't show up for, say, 3 to 6 months or 6 meetings out of a year or something like that, then there's a process for them
Right.
to, and those are appointed decision-making people.
so
yeah.
I agree with you, but I do for my 2 cents, I feel like, we all went through a process to join the committee.
Yep.
Those who are committed and coming to the committee at meetings and really putting in a lot of time.
Mhm.
If somebody is looking to add their name to a committee, just to add their name to a committee, I don't like that at all. It's like, if you're in a committee, then make a commitment. It's out of respect for your fellow committee members, board members. I've been on several boards, and just like you're saying, if people aren't showing up to a certain number of meetings or a certain number of meetings in a row, then, those were written into the bylaws of that particular organization. And I know my current organization is written into the bylaws, but I think a notice to be sent out and say, are you still interested? I mean, that just to me makes sense, because if your name is like, I noticed with the 2009 comprehensive plan, there are people's names on that. And so, 5 years down the road,
Gotcha.
people are going to look at that
Yeah.
and say, oh, so-and-so was part of this plan. And indeed, they were not.
Gotcha.
That's kind of how I'm looking at it,
Understand.
So I guess Brian, it would be up to Brian, I guess, to go back, or Greg.
Brian
to
and
go back.
John.
Yeah. I think John is not on yet. I think he's
There he is.
Brian-
Yeah, John's
Oh,
on.
okay. Okay, yeah, so
I mean, that's
somebody
just my
go
2
back.
cents. I think, whatever.
So are you guys willing to do that, or does it seem like it's a done deal already? Because then we'll just be beating a dead horse, right? We'll be asking a question, and then you guys feel the question is already answered, so we're kind of moving along. Like, can one of you guys or 3 of you guys say something?
Sure. I mean, again, I don't think there's any issue or any need to, look, I've been involved in so many different things, like the people that I see in this committee. And there are those people that are dedicated, and there are those people that get involved. We all know that. And sometimes they fade out, and sometimes they don't. this is going to end at the end of the year, and we're just feeling like, you're named, the emails go out. That's a reminder. And hopefully they'll start coming back. We don't know if they're on vacation or what they're doing, but
For 6 months?
Yeah, Brian, there are people I haven't even seen yet.
Yeah.
So what are you talking about?
Or seen once, I mean, I don't want to expend a lot of energy on it, but I shared my thoughts on it. I mean, to, send out a letter and that's it,
I agree with Ann. This is true.
I think it's good to send out a letter to remind them.
If the committee wants there to be an email sent to all committee members, reminding us of the importance of committee meetings and requesting that everyone please be sure to attend. And if you are unable to attend, to please communicate such. And so that way you can at the very least be kept up to speed, and that participation from all committee members is an important part. There's no reason why the committee can't internally send that kind of communication to the committee members. I think what I don't want to say discrepancy here, but what I think there may be a lack of a distinction is that between the committee sending communication on behalf of itself versus some sort of formal communication from the town board or the town supervisor. And what I've gathered is that Brian and the supervisor agree that that type of communication coming from the town board or town supervisor's office is not appropriate in their estimation. Now, if the committee would like an internal email communication, from the committee, myself as the committee secretary, to all committee members, a copy all kind of thing, just reminding everyone of the importance of showing up for meetings. I'd be happy to do that. I just think that there is a distinction, and an important one, between that communication being an internal memo versus something external coming from the town board or the supervisor.
Greg, I just have to say that Ozzy created this committee. So I don't think any one of us individually has the power or authority to send an email to the entire group, whoever they may be, and ask them if they are still committed to attending, or have they resorted to resigning? If so, please let us know. This is a very simple thing. I don't understand why it's being made to be so difficult. This is a town board committee that was appointed by the supervisor. So why all of a sudden the power is being turned over to us?
I don't think anybody's arguing, right? We're all on the same page.
I didn't say, I don't know who said that, but I'm not saying that we're arguing, but there's definitely a difference of opinion on whether or not it should come from the town board or it should come from us as members.
I don't care. This is Karen. I'll offer to do it. I mean, if I get a list, I'll reach out to the people. If I get a list and I can know who's been here 0 times, who's been here once, that seems like kind of, it might be a pain, but if I can get a list.
I don't think we should count. I just think you have the list. Whoever's emailed this list.
If I disagree that it should not be coming from the supervisor. But if we are in a position where Brian and the supervisor are not feeling that step needs to be taken, and we're given, if the committee agrees, if we're given the only option is to send out an email saying, hey, fellow committee members, out of respect for your other committee members, either join the meetings or,
send an email while you're not
interested.
Again,
my thing is this: if I'm signing my name to something, which I am because I'm part of this committee, and I am also signing my name with 20 other individuals, and only half of them have even attended the meetings, I have to admit that makes me a little bit uncomfortable, because I have no idea where these people stand, what they've not given any input, whatever. I'm so that's my opinion, but I don't think we're getting anywhere tonight with this.
I think communications are centralized, with Liz. I think they need to stay centralized with Liz. And I certainly don't see a problem at all in encouraging people. I'm very frustrated by the lack. I've called a few people and asked them, what's going on. So, yeah.
But if you've
encouragement.
called them, have they said to you, well, I'm not really doing it anymore? Or are they saying like, I have medical issues or I'm on vacation or,
I'm just not going to get into that breakdown, but the thing is, I think an email would be fine, to encourage people participating. Liz, if you want to craft something. But it is
I can do an
7:20
email encouraging people to please come to the committee meetings, but I am not interested in
Can I
saying
chime in for a
anything
second?
about attendance. That just, I'm going to say, this is a committee, but is desired and your participation is welcomed.
Liz?
It's going to be pretty neutral. I don't think you'll be satisfied with what I'm going to say because I'm not interested in.
that's not your, that's putting you in an
Can I say
awkward
something,
position.
please?
Yes, go ahead,
John.
John, go ahead.
A couple months ago, we were in the middle of adding a couple new members to this committee, and it was made very clear that it was the supervisor who was going to add those members. And I think it should be the supervisor who should at least reach out to the people who are in question and find out, are they still on board or not? It shouldn't be, my 2 cents, it should not be the committee. It should be the supervisor.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Right. So
And
that's what I
just-
just said. And then Brian said that he spoke with the supervisor and they agreed that that wasn't the route they were going. So I this is why this could go around in a circle. So
No. It had nothing to do with that. It was a concern about having people leave, which we just don't want to have, that, but encouraging people to participate is,
Yes.
that's fine.
I think encourage people to participate, but if they're not participating, then,
Why don't we do this? Why don't we do this so we can move on? Why
Yes,
don't we
thank you.
send an email on behalf of the committee, kind of address it to the full committee, but especially directed to those who have not been able to come to meetings, and ask them to please let us know, what their status is, and we hope that they'll be able to attend meetings. Something very simple. If that doesn't work, then we can reach out to the supervisor again, but I don't think we're getting anywhere by just
I agree.
talking.
It's a valid concern. On the other hand, it's a large committee and I'm, from my standpoint, working with a nice core group like this is very productive. I'm not saying I wish it was a smaller committee. I'm just saying I think is working quite well. So you know what, I could try to draft something up, Jonathan, run it by you and see what you think. But
Yeah, why don't we start off that way? Yep.
okay.
And I think it's particularly helpful to have 2 of our current town board members on the committee. And I think so far their attendance has been quite good. So
Yep.
I think that'll be very beneficial to the committee and, whatever kinds of recommendations we come up with. And it also helps having a past town board member as well. Well, actually 2, but 1 is here tonight. Thank you, Kenya.
worries, Mr. Cancer.
Anything else on that?
Oh, boy. All right, let's move on then.
Okay. All right. So should
There's
we
nothing we're gonna accomplish here now, so let's go on.
Okay. I actually think I'm kind of excited about looking at the survey results because
It was
if
great.
that's all right with you. You guys have a
That was
really
great.
impressively responsive community. I'm gonna share, and I don't want us to go page by page. I want to let you know that when I'm done tabulating, I'm going to figure out a way of annotating this. I'm not going to completely recalculate it. I'm going to annotate it to make it clear. How do these 37 paper copies responses that we got, how do they fit in? Do they change things? That kind of thing. So,
Liz, can you just add them to the,
I'm going to add them to this PDF.
yeah, just do
But-
that one?
But what it's going to be annotation.
Okay.
Because this PDF was generated right on the SurveyMonkey site. In order for me to regenerate this with the new stuff, I'd have to go into an Excel table, add a bunch of stuff manually, and I don't want to kill the budget. It's not worth it. But if I've tabulated them for each one of these answers, and I can make a little annotation, I can show you whether or not it changes any of the results. It's 37 people that did their paper surveys, and they're kind of spread all over the spectrum of the kind of results you're seeing. And so when I annotate, I think you'll see that.
Okay.
They're pretty reflective of what the community said in the online survey. So this is just a question about where do you live? You know, most people in the town. Most people own a home. And then you have folks from the village, people that work here, things like that.
Can you blow
And
that up? Can you?
Yeah,
Yes.
I
blow that
can't
up?
see that.
yep, I can blow that up. Hang on.
Thank you.
Well, let
There
me
we
get my
go.
magnifying glass.
Hang on. Does that help?
Oh,
Yes.
yeah,
much.
yeah, okay, yeah, all right.
I
There we
can blow it.
go.
I can blow it up more if you want.
No,
No,
that's all
that's
right. Get it on
perfect.
the page.
So you'll see when I annotate, I'm going to add whatever I get from the tabulation. And then if there's some change to the percentage, I'll show that. I won't have any way of adding it to the bar graph, but you'll get the numbers. So I think that will help.
I'm always interested in some of these that say, I go to school in the town of Fishkill.
Yeah, right.
Hey, we did
What's
have
the
it
name of the
open
school?
to young kids, or
well,
maybe they're online learning. Come on,
Yeah.
Fred. Did you bring enough dinner for the class? What are you doing over there?
hey,
Well, remember,
Turn
we
your
have such
video
a
off.
Where-
We have
where's,
such
the, where's the apple?
knowledge.
Where's the apple, Fred?
All right, shall I go to the next page? Look at the pretty colors.
There you go. There you go.
I'm going to zoom back out so we can see the whole thing a little bit.
No. leave
What do you live near? Glenham Village, Rombout, Brinkerhoff, Castle Point, 9D,
no,
Merritt.
no.
it.
So you kind of get, and now I'm going to show you the numeric breakdown, and I'm going to zoom it for you.
Did anybody specify for the where other place that they live?
There was one person, did I get those comments in there? Hang on. Let me see if I have that while you're taking
I'm
a
just
look.
curious. You don't have to go digging too deep. I just was curious about that because maybe they didn't recognize like Lamola. I don't know.
Yeah.
People living there.
Lomola.
Lomola. Sorry.
I wasn't even going to
See?
try to pronounce it. I can.
I would never have
actually-
known it.
I know what, I'll look at the responses, but I did have one person in the paper surveys. I'm going to see if I can add responses in that one. That's good. I'll try that. But in the paper surveys, one person was very upset about the map not showing old Route 9. I mean, the map was a schematic map, so I understand why they didn't understand it.
But
Anyway.
if you look at it, it's where the majority of our people do live. They did hit. So we had the majority of our populations.
Yeah.
Sorry. Yeah, so this was
A
the
lot of
answer.
village
Sorry.
people.
Huh? What do you live near? Sorry. What do you live near? So I'm going to keep going. Which of the following areas of Fishkill do you go to? So where are people hanging out? Glenham Village, Rombout, Brinkerhoff, Dutchess Junction, Lamola, Lamola.
Oh, there you go.
Which one is it? Lamola?
Lomoa.
Lomala. Lomala.
No, it's not. It's Lomoa. Come on.
Okay. So anyway, a lot of people hang out in and around Merritt Boulevard and Castle Point 9D. And I'll show you the results on that. Let's see.
Now remember, Merritt Boulevard also is where Walmart and Sam's Club and all those things are.
Yep.
Yeah,
But those are areas, so those are areas of
a lot
town.
of people go
that are
there, that's
frequented.
for
Yeah.
sure.
Yep. All right. Let me just. 7 general issues of interest and concern, rate them in order of importance, value from 1 to 7. There were some people that didn't understand this, but there definitely were a number of people that did. And it seems to be.
Community connections, that's nice. Aw, we all want to be closer.
Yep. Getting around Fishkill was a big deal.
Yeah, economy.
Yep. Environmental and nature did better than sustainability and resilience. So, and let me give you the numbers on that one. It's just a little different. I'm gonna have to zoom out on this one, guys. Sorry.
Yeah,
Let's just see. Or we can look at it in halves. Hang on a
That's good.
second. No, that's good right there. Okay, sorry. Interesting, they give a score on the side. So the thing that had the highest score was getting around Fishkill. But, you know, not a huge difference between the lowest result and the biggest result. That's not a huge difference.
The places to live is the lowest.
Right.
Yeah, it makes sense if most of the people answering the survey already live in the town, they're probably not going to be as concerned about finding a place to live in the town.
mhm.
It was interesting to tabulate this with the handwritten ones because there were a lot more folks saying they were concerned about options for places to live.
In
Uh,
the printed ones, you mean?
Yeah,
Oh,
Huh,
'cause, I mean, those are the seniors.
right. Yeah,
So they may be, you know, feeling the pinch of
Yeah.
the cost of
Yep.
yeah,
housing
yes, indeed.
affecting other things that they need, like food and healthcare and so forth. All right, so I'm going to go on. Okay, this is there are other areas of concern. Please specify. Now I'm going to zoom. Well, no, we'll do half pages. So these are the materials that I was able to grab from SurveyMonkey as separate PDFs, and that's why you're going to see. So it says page 9 of 40,
Right.
and then you're going to see page 1 of 7. That's because
Can I-
there's. Go ahead.
Can I say number 33 was my very favorite? It's full of everything. We got it all. That was my
I mean, honestly, the comments. I don't know how you
They're
guys felt
great.
about it, but
a lot of really, I like the one, I want to fly. That was good.
mhm.
That was in later on, ways it could be easier to get around.
Yep. Hang on. Let's see. Yeah, flying.
There
would
were
be
some
nice.
really heartwarming ones and very heartfelt. Like it seemed to me people are, they love Fishkill, they love living here and just want to see some great things happening, it just peaking what's already great.
And people kind of jumped in with 2 feet to really get into detail about the concerns.
Mhm.
A lot about traffic, a lot about pedestrian issues.
There are also a lot about parks and kind of renewing the parks that are already here, and then doing a lot with the rail trail proposals also
Yeah.
showing up.
Yep.
Jack, oh, is that Teresa or Jackie?
Teresa.
Okay. Yeah, there was a lot of comments about that.
Which is nice to see.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to scroll through these. If you guys need me to stop, let me know. This is more of, what was this question? I'm sorry, hang on. These are general areas of interest and concern.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of these issues in the questionnaire that you all put together, you touched on these things. So at least hopefully.
Number 39 was a doozy. I had to read
Yeah,
that several
yeah, I
times.
know. I'm just reading it now. This is
Yeah.
I don't know where that person lives.
yeah, oh wow, this is
Well, there's a lot about medical care in one of the handwritten surveys about someone not being able to get a physical for several months. And
where's this one from?
You know, and somebody
You
said
mean not be able to get to a facility to get a physical?
or relying
actually
on CareMount and not being able to be squeezed in
Okay.
for appointments in a
Yeah, because
timely
I think
enough manner.
one of the bigger issues was, especially for the senior, it's a combined living, senior and people with disabilities, is that like most appointments are like for doctors, especially specialists, is like maybe a Monday, Wednesday, or Tuesday, Thursday, and so therefore they have, even with the increase of the transportation, it still doesn't help them get to
Right.
medical providers as they need it. So and I don't really know how to solve that problem, like, unless you have like doctors that are specialists that are willing to actually go to senior houses and like give special care there. So it was very
A girlfriend of mine actually volunteers down in Putnam County, driving seniors to medical appointments. Yeah, but it's tough. It is difficult.
Well, 53 sounds good. That's true. Roads are bad.
There were a lot of comments too about people tying traffic to development.
Yes.
But also making, specific comments.
Here you go, number 62. There you go. There you go. Too much traffic.
That was a resounding message.
Do you think 70 meant traffic instead of tragic?
I think so, yeah.
I think so.
Probably.
Okay. I was
Probably.
like, I don't really get that one.
The tragic flooding.
Let's see. I know you have this, so I'm kind of scrolling through.
Another theme that I saw in a lot of these written answers were about what people feel are overdevelopment, whether that's new houses or new living facilities or new businesses, and the impact on the environment.
Yeah, impact on the environment, traffic, pedestrian safety too, I think.
Yeah.
I like the lady who's complained about her.
I did like to see the fact that so many people were like, use what is already here instead of, or use sites that are already used or abandoned.
A lot about overdevelopment.
Yeah. Yep.
I mean, some of that is a Hudson Valley phenomenon where a lot of communities are very developed and what's left to be developed is marginal land. Marginal meaning not great.
It's getting to be Fishkill.
And I mean, Jonathan, I'm sure you encounter this all the time on the planning board.
Yeah, these are things we hear a lot at the planning board. And something that struck me there, I don't know how many hits of tree cutting or too much tree cutting, but we hear that a lot and we see it a lot.
Yep.
Duchess Mall.
Yeah, some people want, I don't know what's left of Duchess Mall. I know it's Duchess, isn't the community college is in significant portion of that.
A very small part.
No,
Very,
yeah.
And then there's Home Depot.
Home Depot.
gotcha.
But first and foremost is the dilapidated structures on the south
Right.
end, which are an eyesore and a safety hazard.
Yep. And it is a hot spot for vandalism.
Homeless. We
I
have
was
a lot
going to
of-
say, our homeless
We have a
folks.
lot of homeless there. And the
I
town-
haven't seen really
Well,
that much homeless
I will
people
let you
living
know.
in there, but
And they've been there ever since it's been, destroyed. They live back there in the woods.
Yeah, I see
well,
that. I
that's
was riding my
more
bike
that's
back
behind
there.
Walmart also, but behind Duchess Mall, like I mean, I go trapping back there. I haven't
Yeah.
bumped into any,
No.
cities behind there,
Can
unlike
someone tell
Walmart.
me? Hi, it's Karen. I feel like I should know this, but why has that been lingering like that? Is it because it's privately owned? I think
Yes.
that's what I heard. But I mean, if I let my house disintegrate, like, is
Yep.
that it's truly nothing can be done about it?
You'd be getting fined after fined after fine.
No, it's been that way since I've lived here. Like, and I've lived
Yes.
here for over a decade.
Yeah.
So I don't
From what I've
understand.
learned, the person pays like the taxes and they maintain it. And from what I
Yeah.
learned, is like there's nothing that can be done. That's what I heard. Like I don't know how.
But he's not
factual, but
maintaining it though.
It's not maintained.
I think it's maintained the way it's been maintained. So I don't know if somebody's
Right.
up in the standard, but
Yeah.
I asked about that. And then it just was one more thing before we move to the next. The issue with the lack of, I don't know, a light or some type of safety mechanism down by the VA hospital. Somebody wrote that in there, but that was another concern, like by the residents that live down there, because you can't get out, like especially when it's dark, like you can't get out and see. So I don't know how we communicate that or how that gets assessed, but I do think that is a safety issue. I don't know if it's our issue, as a committee, but it was mentioned here and I've heard it several times by residents.
A lot of these responses are going to be really handy for adding specifics into the comprehensive plan update for action, because in other words, go ahead.
Can I ask you, are you talking about on 9D, where that triangle is to turn into the VA hospital? Is that what you're talking about? That specific turn right there, right?
Tanya? Well,
Might have stepped away.
Yeah. But the government came up with an answer for that. They're going to close it.
Well, it's not going to be closed.
I know that.
It's not going to be closed. So interestingly enough, that is an issue that has been brought up, and I actually broached it with the county exec. And I said, so I hear this a lot, as far as traffic and the light, and plus it has to do with the bus transportation that comes in and does drop off VA, individuals for treatment and then picks them back up. They can't come out and they can't come out and cross traffic and make a left. They have to go south, loop through Beacon and come back. It's just ridiculous. And I said, why? And they say it is because of that triangle. They can't get a light there because of that triangle, the way it's structured right now. And so they just won't do it. So that's an unfortunate reality, it seems.
Sorry, I was muted. It's just worth listing some of the specific problem areas, and that way, if there's an opportunity to approach an agency or seek funding, that the specifics are in your plan. That's all.
So the biggest problem, they say, is between Route 52 and Route 9 and Interstate 84.
Yep. Yeah, here's the table. You want me to blow that up, or is that okay for you guys?
That's okay. But it looks like the biggest problem we have is, again, on Route 52, between all of Route 52 going through the village on both sides. And then, as we always said, on Route 9D and 84.
Yep.
Yeah, and then when we get to more specific comments about traffic, the village of Fishkill seems to really be the key place where there are problems that people thought about.
Well, Jonathan, that's right where the village is, all of that.
Yeah, that's what I just said.
52. Yeah, 52 is the main street.
That's what I just said.
Response number 92 is really in depth and
Is it in here?
Yeah.
Okay, sorry, I'm getting there.
I guess
yeah.
91, and is quoting from the 2009 comprehensive plan.
Yeah, Jonathan, I thought you wrote that.
No, I wasn't here then.
No, but somebody inputted it into the survey. They must have copied
Yeah,
it.
they put everything from the they did from the comprehensive plan.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
Really read
I mean,
the old comprehensive plan. Said this
I was
all-
kind of happy to see that because, you know, it really points out, I mean, the comprehensive plan is a great document that needs some tweaking and some, you know, reinforcement. But yeah, I was kind of impressed that this person took the time to do that.
I mean, that's why I think it's worth it, you know, to have a good look.
I just recently reread the comprehensive plan again, at Jonathan's suggestion.
Yep.
And that was all this was in it. All this stuff was in it that we should have done already.
Yep.
If allowed to by the state or somebody else. Because don't forget, a lot of this we don't have full control over.
I actually tried going through the survey and trying to remember what I had written in it, and I couldn't remember.
Hey, Jonathan, me too. I couldn't remember mine either.
I can't either. Look, where are we going here?
Any ideas how to fix the traffic or reduce the traffic? The one thing everybody keeps on saying is put in the Blodgett Road, the extension Merritt Boulevard.
I thought one person had said do one way. I thought that was a
Yeah, but if you're going to do one way, then you're going to put it on.
very interesting. At first, I was like, "What the heck do they mean there?" Do a one way, just where you have to like literally go around the village instead of both ways on Main Street.
Yeah, but how are you going to get around? You're going to go through a residential area.
Mm-hmm.
And I tell you what,
I'm just saying it was an interesting idea.
I know. Well, but what that one was, Ann, is the Blodgett Merritt extension. So it goes by Walmart, goes out that way, it crosses the creek, the Fishkill Creek, and comes out of Blodgett Road where the CVS is located, if that gives you a heads up. At that light. And that bypasses some of it.
Yeah, this number 107 mentions.
And that was in the comprehensive plan before this one.
Well, when Walmart went in, it was very strongly recommended by Supervisor Pagonis, but it was rejected by the village.
Yeah, because it affects them. It comes out, again, a lot of traffic going into 52 then, right there in the village.
I think there were a few comments about things like 106, time the traffic lights.
Yeah.
And there were a couple on, put police out there to help direct, control traffic.
They used to do that, I think, right? Didn't they used to do that?
I think they may have tried it, but it's,
They still do in the village. They do it around the time that the elementary school
Okay.
dismisses.
Well, the
Okay.
school buses, when the school buses come out, you have the traffic.
Yeah, when there's school
Sure.
related traffic, there is often, if
yeah,
not always, a village cop.
Well, and that's for Church Street, because that makes the buses can turn left onto Main Street or 52.
That's only in the morning and the afternoon.
Both. Both, whenever the school buses are coming through, because the school buses, even after they drop the kids off, are empty. They still have to go out, get another bunch of kids somewhere.
Yeah, but that's only during school time. You know, during the semester. After that, there's no more cop in there. There's no more police officer there. So
But it's not needed then after that. That much.
sometimes.
Keep in mind that, you know, when this document starts coming together, I think there's nothing wrong with putting lists of things that need improvement without saying, this is what we need to do. To describe an intersection or a stretch of road and identify a number of problems in, you know, either short paragraph or list format. I don't think that's a problem. It makes it a little easier to read. Maybe you pop a picture in there. And it's a lot easier for somebody, say, whatever they're doing a mini plan on traffic in this part of town, because hopefully that's what will happen. That will be part of the implementation, or seeking funding for a recommended improvement, including traffic, intersection changes, and pedestrian changes. So,
But Liz, what control do we have over the village with our comprehensive plan?
I don't know that we have control over the village, but if the town of Fishkill comprehensive plan identifies an intersection or a stretch of road that's affecting the larger community, which could include the village and the town, and that it's causing, you know, safety issues or quality of life issues for people. I mean, don't forget that if there's something that's affecting both village residents and businesses and town residents and businesses, nothing is more powerful if you're getting a study done than to do it for a larger area, a more logical area than simply the boundaries of a municipality. And also the same goes for seeking funding. If you have a couple communities pulling together, you know, saying, you know, we want to get this done and it's for this many people, and it's in our plan. I don't know what's in the Village of Fishkill's plan, but the more you can state these things, the better. You don't have to have the technical solution. You identify a problem, recommend what could be looked into and what are some possible solutions.
Well,
I mean,
Liz, if I'm looking at this with traffic, besides the 9D and 84,
Mm-hmm.
our biggest problem is the village, because the village goes from 84 all the way up, you know, just to ShopRite on Route 9. And they get on both sides of 52, you know.
Well, then,
Well, if you noted, you know, the number of people who filled out the survey, there was a large number that said they live in the village. So I'm sure that their responses are going to be geared that way. And I think, you know, as we kind of gel things together, I certainly would think it might make sense to share this information with the village and, you know, and say, hey, this is what the response was from the people, you know, that are living in the village, visiting the village or whatever. You know, I mean, we have a liaison now that's between the town and the village, and hopefully that relationship is just going to be increasingly strong.
plus one of the objectives of the comprehensive plan update could be to collaborate,
Mhm.
you know, have a group formed that's going to collaborate between the town and the village on certain
Right.
aspects of traffic.
you know, the whole time I've been in the town, I have not tried to look at the Village of Fishkill's master plan. I assume they have one. It may be old, I don't know. But I'm gonna
They have a
actually do
copy.
that. I'm gonna go on
They
their
just-
website and see if they have
They
it
just
available.
did, they
I
just
think
did
they
their
just-
comprehensive plan before Michio left.
Yep, exactly, Ann.
So, yeah, I'm gonna take a look at it and see what it looks like.
And they expanded their zoning in a particular area that we can look forward to fighting more development for 40-foot buildings was one of the things that they added.
Well, they got a hook and ladder.
Lot of
Um,
bicycle, like lots of comments on biking.
Yep, these are still more transportation. We haven't gotten that far, but that's okay. Yeah, a lot of comments on pedestrian and biking.
Fewer cars and less people.
Mhm. Yep. A lot of, need for sidewalks.
Mhm.
And Jonathan, jump in, but I know in communities I work in, whenever I ask for a sidewalk in a business area, the first comment I get is, "Oh, you're going to ask us to build a sidewalk to nowhere?" And ultimately, these things get pieced together. And
It's a field of dreams. If you build it, they will come.
true, but it's one of those things. I think planning boards have a hard time with it. If somebody is really not near any other business, even if it's in a business zone. Now, I think Fishkill's built up enough that
Yeah.
you have spaces that are underutilized, like the Duchess Mall. And I think there was a Burger King, Jonathan, that went in, and there's a little bit of sidewalk there, isn't there?
Burger King, where?
On
McDonald's?
Route 9?
Burger King down by Duchess Mall?
Yeah, or do I have the wrong chain? Is it McDonald's?
There's a McDonald's. There's been
Sorry.
a McDonald's down there for a long time. Yeah. Burger King is further up north by ShopRite.
Okay, I have the wrong
Yeah,
place.
McDonald's was just renovated.
Mhm.
Do they have sidewalk in front or?
Um,
That's the mall
I
itself.
don't think so.
yeah, I
Yeah,
don't
that's
think
the mall.
so. I don't think
Yeah.
so.
Because McDonald's they don't have one running along Route 9 because they don't have control of it. When they went into, came in front of Jonathan, they were just doing their plan because it was a site inside. I don't think you required them to put a sidewalk in, Jonathan.
No, I mean, because
Hmm.
the building was already there and had been operating for many years. And
Mhm.
it's really kind of a bigger, I think all they are doing is leasing the land from the real estate company that owns the property. But there is no sidewalk currently there.
So that's a conundrum I'm experiencing in other communities where when a new business goes in, you ask them for sidewalks and there's a big fuss about it. And then I have one community where we're asking for an easement so that the town can go in later and construct the sidewalk. But then the conundrum is if they don't build it, the community one way or another has to acquire the funding to get it built. So it puts a planning board in a great deal of pressure to push for a sidewalk when it's hard for, say, a property owner building something to understand why do they have to do that? Why do they have to do the first stretch of it? But hopefully in the long run.
Wait, for
Yeah.
112, before you keep scrolling, can you go back to 112?
Yep.
Where,
Not abandoned.
abandoned train tracks, where does the tracks go?
The tracks go from the Beacon train station, just south of the Beacon train station, if you ever go down there. And it goes along the river, right?
No, the tracks right behind Montford.
I'm letting you know, that's where it starts.
Wow.
Okay, it goes from Beacon. It
Well, that
goes
makes sense.
along
Yeah.
that one
Okay. That
side
makes
of the
sense.
train track all the
Mhm.
way into Hopewell Junction.
Wow. That would be a really cool, ambitious goal to pave
Well,
those tracks.
well, it was on the previous plan. All right, and it's been on the previous plan before that one.
All right, Fred, we'll get cracking. Come on.
Get cracking. Hey, been trying. I mean,
I remember as a kid,
I got lots of things for that track because we have town property along that track some
wonderful.
places.
I grew up in Niskayuna, and they paved the railroad tracks behind my house, my childhood house, and it went all the way from, Erie Boulevard in city of Schenectady, all the way through into the city of Albany. It was really amazing, and that gets used heavily.
Well, I will tell you, it would get used very heavily
Yes, it would.
if you can get whoever it is that owns it now to give it up. And that's really that would be a county project.
Would it be separate property owners, each
No.
sectioned, or is it somebody
No,
owns
one.
those tracks?
One,
Who owns the tracks?
I forgot who owns it right now.
I think it's still owned by MTA.
That's not MTA. MTA never owned that. It's something else. Because it was freight line, Jonathan. It was more freight line than anything else.
Yeah, I think we should start a campaign, Fred.
No, the campaign's been going on forever. You can ask Wayne and John about it, Brian and John and everybody.
I've never heard of a campaign for the railroad tracks. Let's do it. Brian, John, you in?
I guess not anymore. All right. But yeah, look,
All right.
that's a big ambition for the town of Fishkill.
I think that's wonderful. It's a good ambition.
It would be a great connector between all the other sidewalks that you're going to want to have built.
Because
that would be very,
one of the things you people talked about was why can't we have a train from, like the Beacon? Well, right where the Beacon get off at the Beacon train station, that's the line. It goes by Madam Brett House. It's already there.
Oh, yeah.
All right.
Yep.
That's part of it. And if you follow it now, it crosses Madam Brett's on one side, but it's right there.
Could be an intermunicipality goal, right?
And if you take it out to Pauling, out to Hopewell, you can go all the way into Pauling with it, and all the way into the city of Poughkeepsie with it as another place to go.
Yeah.
I think the whole thing is brilliant. And when I heard it a long time ago, I thought, wow, that would be cool. Somehow it's whoever was discussing that and whoever was thinking about it dropped it. And I'm not certain why. I'm sure expense is one, but it's also like final ownership of the railroads themselves. Who owns the rail tracks and will they give up ownership? It's just a lot of complicated things right there. But I mean, the whole idea is fantastic.
They have to give up. They have to give up use of the train track. They use it supposedly one time a year just to keep the ownership going. But I haven't seen them use it in a long time. But maybe they go through at midnight when I'm asleep.
Actually, I think I saw a recent article within the last year that there had been some attempts at discussions with whoever the owner of the tracks is, and that there was some thought that, maybe at some point in the not too distant future, that may actually be a reality that they would want to get rid of it. I'm sure I heard it was MCA, but if I'm wrong, I apologize. But I think we should research a little bit about that and find out who actually controls it and what the story is, because it's been a while since that's probably been looked into.
Actually, Beacon was talking about it to me not too long ago. The previous mayor of Beacon talked to me about it.
So, Fred, you can fill us in on who the owner is?
I'll have you the information for it. But again, it's somebody, like the governor has to get involved, the county exec has to get involved.
Yeah, but
So
we the people,
We the
But
people. We can see we
what
can do.
happens if the town jumps in and
we the
says,
people.
we're looking at this as a future pedestrian way and starting to plan around that?
Yeah.
If it's an opportunity, because railroads often cut right through blocks.
Yeah.
Which is why it's become such a convenient pedestrian way or bicycle way. So that's another thing to think about. What's near it? What could be near it? What could it be, a boon to some mixed use development or
I would love
affordable
to
housing
see,
or something?
here's something I've been thinking about. Have you guys ever, any of you been to Doug Phillips Park? You know where it is? At the junction
The
of
Beacon?
52 and 82.
Oh,
All right. And that's right where the tracks are too. There's a convenience store. It's right where our new monument is.
yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
It's being dedicated this weekend.
There's the dog park is there.
Where the dog park is. That's Doug Phillips Park. I would love to see, and that there used to be a dam behind the feed store. And the dam went down. But before the dam went down, everybody used to swim in that area.
Yep.
What I'd love to see now is hooking that park by water, being able to tube down or canoe down or kayak down, all the way down to, all right, which then goes to Sally Terra Park, because the creek goes right along that, which is a village park. And then right down to what's the park in Blenheim? Vanderwater Park. And you got to stop there because then they get Texaco and you have some dams there and some water. But we can make that into a beautiful water.
Fred, are you talking about Jean Van Pelt Park?
Yeah, Van Pelt. Thank you. Thank you, Greg. I mean, be ideal.
I'm wondering, just for tonight's purposes, I don't know. I'm looking on my iPhone, so my laptop is rebooting. I don't know how many more questions we have to go through here.
Am I muted? No, you can hear me?
Yep, can hear you.
Yep.
Okay, so just by way of example, there are some themes that are turning up in a lot of the answers and even the specific responses. Traffic and pedestrian are two very important themes from what I'm hearing. I'm just wondering from what you've all read in the survey, are there other themes that are popping out at you? Things you're hearing people repeat again and again. So I'm hearing traffic and pedestrian. Go ahead.
Flying. There it is again. Fly if you can. A lot of biking interest and concerns over safety with biking.
These seem to be the things that pop out, even in, at least as far as I can tell, and even in the responses to things that didn't have to do necessarily with traffic. Those two themes are huge. And I think site redevelopment, in other words, vacant sites
Well, I think that they all kind of go together because there's an acknowledgement of overdevelopment, but there's also this kind of frustration that there's space that could easily, or could certainly be utilized. I don't know how easy it would be, but it's hard to drive past a new development where, maybe some beautiful open space was taken down and where, across the road, you've got, a huge lot that's just falling into disrepair.
Okay.
So it all kind of goes with that.
Hey, Jonathan, You are correct. The owner of that property right now is Metro North Commercial Railroad Company Primary.
Yay, I was right.
There you go, buddy. Madison Avenue.
Yeah, which pretty much, well, not that it shows anything, but it's most likely not going to be used as a freight line in the future. If anything, maybe they think that it could be some kind of a commuter, you know, light rail kind of a thing, which would also be interesting. But I think if we push the idea of a rail trail through there in our plan and have some, good information that we can come up with to back that up, that might sort of help get the impetus back on track, so to speak.
Well, I am sure Beacon would be very much in favor, and I'm sure East Fishkill would be very much in favor of it.
I mean, we were bouncing it around the other day when we were talking about it and kind of picturing like little pop-up stores along, or at points where we could have, maybe some small businesses or something along the way. I don't know. But anyway, I like the idea of a rail trail. And I like the idea more of, having something going on in that particular lot, because it to me, it's inexcusable that it's still there like this.
Which is particular lot you're talking about again?
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah,
good.
I
Thanks.
don't understand. I mean, I've been here long enough, actually. I do remember 3 or 4 stores that were in the mall, like they were still functioning. That's how long I've been here, because it's been closed for many years.
Are you talking about the Duchess Mall?
Mhm.
Oh, I was there when we built it.
Listen, I was going to say, yeah, you were here when that was a happening place.
I was
but
here when it was Beanfields.
It's no longer a happening place. Fred, is it true that there was a nudist colony where behind it? Now, how would you know that, Fred?
Knows? Hey, excuse me. Lomala. You ever hear of Lomala?
Yeah, that's what we were just talking.
Lomala is the Fishkill Creek.
Yeah.
Lomala was settled by people from Sweden, and they built hot tubs, and they go swimming naked, and and that was what that whole community was.
That was behind Duchess Mall.
No.
That's what I had heard, that there was a nudist colony behind Duchess Mall.
There wasn't really any swimming over there, if that's what you're asking about. But could there be? Who knows? Probably. That was before my time. I got to go back but look, a lot of my sources are now dead.
Oh, I mean,
we're just going to have to take your word for it.
Yeah.
A nudist colony could be an interesting kind of redevelopment for the Duchess Mall, I suppose.
Listen, it's using what's already there.
Well, most of that property now behind the Duchess Mall now is owned by, besides the golf course, is owned by the state.
Yes. Yep.
Now here's an interesting story. Sally Taylor, who is the mayor of the village of Fishkill, and she's the one who brought in water and sewer.
Mm-hmm.
She was a school teacher, and she used to teach at a single school up in Hopewell Junction. And she used to catch the train, used to slow up for her. And she used to jump on the train to take it out to Hopewell Junction and teach.
I'm throwing
All right,
this.
anyway,
I'm
let's go on.
sharing again.
Yep.
Not to be annoying, but I am a little sister to a couple people, so annoying is one of my things. So this kind of I thought was curious, and it might be a good guidepost that we asked the question about needed businesses or services, and we got a whole bunch of people saying, "Do you have any wishes or idea?" And the majority, a little more than the majority said no. And then you have some ideas here.
Seniors, yeah.
So Duchess Mall is there.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And actually, there was another one back there where the railroad showed up with traffic and pedestrian ideas too. So yes, derelicts, Southern Duchess Mall. People are speaking like you are all thinking, as far as I can tell.
Jonathan?
So can I mention something quickly about Duchess
Please.
Mall? If you look at the upcoming planning board agenda for tomorrow evening, which is going to be a very long meeting again. We've been having very long meetings, right, Fred?
So sorry for you guys.
11:30.
Well, 12 o'clock was the last one, actually.
Yeah.
But the redevelopment of Duchess Mall is on there for a new submission. And I can say this because it's public knowledge now that on the agenda, we will be reviewing a proposal for a large warehouse-like facility taking up the space of the dilapidated Duchess Mall buildings. So it is actually zoned for such. It's zoned planned shopping center, which allows virtually anything.
Yep.
And but if you want to get an idea of what's being proposed, take a look. The whole planning board packet is on the town's website, and you can quickly take a look at that and see what's being proposed there. Or better still, come to our meeting and see it in person.
Well, and that is the entry to the town. So whatever it is, let's hope that it is appealing.
Well, the picture looks good.
Is the space that's going to be a warehouse where there used to be a flea market there, or do I have the wrong location? Okay.
That's the flea market is the big Maze owned building. Maze owns the building at the
It's
north.
the Duchess,
Yeah, the north end. The next property is the
Gotcha.
Home Depot. Then it's the
Gotcha.
next property over, which is what they're talking about.
Gotcha.
Flea
I
market
mean-
is Duchess Community College now.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
Dutchess Community
Okay.
College is, yeah.
so it's
Dutchess,
like Duchess Community College, Home Depot, Wasteland.
And then the dilapidated buildings.
Well, that's what I consider the wasteland, but yeah.
Yeah.
Will the
Hey.
warehouse rework the dilapidated building or not? Will it?
yes.
They'll demolish them. Thank goodness.
Okay.
No, that whole thing's gonna get cleaned up. One of the big problems you have is when they tore down the mall, they left a lot of the asbestos there.
Oh my God.
Ugh.
So they're gonna have to, whoever it is,
Wow.
Jonathan's gonna have to get it cleaned
Got to
up.
clean it up. So that's a whole process
At least
before
that's
the
what they told-
process.
At least that's what they told me earlier, that, way back a group of years ago.
Right.
Another 20 years.
Well, I can tell you it's a huge dumping ground for animals.
Well, all bodies.
Are there going to be a lot of employees at the warehouse, Jonathan? You guys have anything in that, like in the EAF or anything?
There'll be a good number. I don't have a number in my mind right now, but yeah, there are a fair number.
What kind of warehouse?
We don't know yet what exactly, it's part of the new wave, the new trend with, the way people are ordering things online, and they need space for distributing the goods. We don't know who the entity is that will be in there, but we'll try to find out, even though they probably won't tell us.
I mean, if it's going to be a lot of employees, I guess there are just some considerations. And of course, I'm not involved in the review, but one is, how are they coming and going from the site? And is there any remote way to push for any kind of pedestrian ways? In case some of them are arriving by transit or carpooling or whatever. And then the other thing is there going to be an issue where it's going to create more demand for, the existing housing stock and things like that. So, I mean, it's kind of good that it's being redeveloped if they're taking down a dilapidated building.
That's a
Ordinarily, I would look at storage as a placeholder, but this isn't storage. This is warehousing for transit, right? I think.
But it is a rateable.
Yeah, it is. And you don't have a lot of customers coming and going from it.
Right. You'll have a lot of trucks going to it. It's kind of like the Gap facility up farther north on Route 9. Although I think that's probably a lot bigger than this one will be.
Right.
Much-
That thing is huge up there.
No, it's much bigger than the Gap.
I guess it would be a lot of,
There's no pilot
Yeah.
on that one either. They're not asking for money in lieu of, which the Gap did when it came in. Because we put the Gap in when IBM closed. We're trying to recover for that.
But anyway,
okay,
just
so
thought I would mention that since we were talking about such a small.
it's kind of good news, I would think, on some level.
So stay tuned and tune in to find out more about it.
And when you have people milling around going to and from a job, sometimes they stop and go to a store or library or whatever. I don't know. So, I'm losing track of, let's see, hang on. This is people saying, what kind of businesses do you need?
I like it when somebody says we don't want any more warehouses. I mean, any more shopping, food markets, except for a couple of.
No, they want a Stewart's,
They want us
a Whole Foods,
a Whole Food. Yeah, there we go.
or as my
Trader-
son calls it, Whole Paycheck.
Trader Joe's and
Trader
Wegmans.
Joe's, yeah, I love that.
Small food market in Fishkill Village. We have a ton of unoccupied buildings.
Believe it or not, but ShopRite is in the village of Fishkill.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
So
I mean, ShopRite tends to be a pretty good neighbor.
Sure.
I don't know if there's any kind of farmer's market or space for a farmer's market. I didn't see
Yeah,
anybody
they-
barking for that in here, though.
you know, and they do a farmer's market in the one plaza in the village.
Right. Small to
Third.
mid-sized grocers.
They
So
can't
there-
compete.
There was discussion, a number of times I saw the former Texaco research lands mentioned as a redevelopment site. So we certainly need to keep that in mind.
Yep. So,
And
I
the
mean-
rail trail would go right past that. So there certainly are some opportunities there. But we have to be careful that it doesn't get overly developed because, you know, you would have to take into consideration all of the surrounding residential areas and the old Glenham hamlet, the historic hamlet. So whatever would happen at the Texaco research site, which is now Chevron, would have to be very carefully and tastefully done. But certainly a rail trail there would help a lot with the transportation aspects of it.
so is it safe to say traffic, pedestrian, and redevelopment are a couple of themes?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
You know, I saw a couple of comments that people said they didn't want development because the schools are overcrowded. I believe the schools are not overcrowded right now because my Little League is way down. And I got kids and we're just not there. So, you know, I did see that in a couple of places. But
I don't know what's
if any of
happening
our
in
schools-
Fishkill.
Any of our schools anywhere in Dutchess County is overcrowded.
I think Wappinger school system's actually down as far as enrollment. I mean, that's anecdotal. I'm not the last word on that. That's what I hear.
Yeah. And you know, the St. Mary's Catholic Church in the school in the village of Wappinger is closed. I know the enrollment's down in St. Mary's and, you know, in Fishkill. So I'm not too concerned about the school population. I mean, should we be talking to the school at all in this plan or not? I mean,
Sure. Why not?
we have, Fishkill represents 3 different school systems. We have Haldane,
Yeah.
you have Wappingers, and you have Beacon. And then you have the parochial schools. And
Is Haldane the school district?
yeah, Haldane
Haldane's
is
like Putnam County.
Okay. You know, Phillipstown School District.
And otherwise it's Wappinger.
And then no, the big one is where we have Wappingers, and a big hunk of our territory is in the Beacon School District. The
And
Glenham,
Beacon.
yeah, and Glenham,
So
which
three.
Right.
Okay.
yeah, three. Glenham,
Haldane has about 4 houses.
I mean, I don't know what's happening down here, but I know up in the Kingston Pulse area, elementary schools are closing.
Yeah.
They're consolidating elementary with middle school, that kind of stuff, because our kids aren't having as many kids.
you got it.
Um,
And Fishkill Elementary is one of the oldest schools that they have.
yeah.
But I think that your question, should we be in contact with the school districts? Probably the answer is yes. We should try to coordinate with them during our update process in some way. I'm not quite sure how, but it's a good idea.
Maybe invite representatives to public meeting or something. I don't know.
Yeah,
I like that 135 is an interesting.
it's 135. Just
The
if you would like to have the Dutchess Mall South develop into a, well,
trades like a BOCES, you know. So
I
was
much
just
like
gonna
they're
say
doing Dutchess
BOCES.
County.
guys, that's what Dutchess Community College is doing right now. That's what they're using that facility for.
For high school students?
It's for anybody. They're doing
Oh, I see, high
anything
school
they
grads.
can.
Mhm.
Anything they can.
So it's serving much as like a BOCES type of a program, like vocational programs?
That's what we're talking to them about, but that, you know, they got lots of space. They got,
Yeah. Yes, they do.
right now, they're a little bit of trouble because of the COVID. So they haven't, filled it back up with students. And they're looking to have the students come from Putnam County and across the river.
Yeah. I mean,
Which
it's
is
a
right
great location.
And I know that one of Governor Hochul's education goals is to massively increase dual enrollment so that students are taking college and community college classes while they're in high school. So that makes sense.
But the Duchess, if this goes through, that's going to eat up
Excuse me.
most of all the property.
The Dutchess Community College is going to eat up most of the property?
No.
The warehouse.
Warehouse. The Dutchess Community College only has part of the upstairs of that building. The Maze building is gigantic.
Holy crap.
That was the first escalator we had in Dutchess County. It's a big warehouse, a big.
Well, how big is this warehouse? Like what?
About 350,000 square feet.
So basically another Gap, right? Is that like the size?
Well, it's not, no, the Gap is much, much bigger.
Yeah, but it's big enough.
Welcome to Fishkill.
Welcome to anything off 84.
Yeah.
You have the new Amazon plan in East Fishkill now.
Yeah.
But I think really it is your sort of old fashioned like downtown in this area. It's either going to be Beacon or the Village, right? If you want to go someplace where there's a barber or a small store. Does that sound right?
That's about right. That's what we have.
Yeah.
You have a little bit more development going on in 52 on the east side of Route 9 going out. You have some spaces there.
There are some vacant parcels on the west side, near west of Town Hall. There are a couple of fairly large parcels
I will tell
undeveloped.
you know what would be great? I don't know if the town could do it, but one of the big complaints you saw was about the library.
I saw that. I thought that was pretty
Yeah.
sad.
Yep.
That might have been the ones that we posted at the library. We got back, just saying that, but again, everybody's, the The library would like to expand that. They don't have an elevator. It's not handicap accessible.
Mhm.
All right. But if they could put one over by the rec center in Fishkill, there is a slight problem with that because Lenham, anything in the Beacon school system, they pay their fees to the Beacon Library. I don't know why that is, but that's the way it was established. So it's really not the center of where we do. They're looking for a spot. All this stuff. Come on, Ann, wake up.
So,
I'm awake.
so
So what else?
I'm fishing here for another theme because I can tell from a lot from the survey that I think the Fishkill area, including Village of Fishkill and City of Beacon, is just loaded up with all kinds of larger scale retail. So there doesn't seem to be a need for that. There are plenty of small businesses, although it seems like there might be a desire for small business space, maybe not necessarily for stores or restaurants, but other services.
Like what?
There's, I don't know. I'm just saying, like, there doesn't seem to be a demand. Hey, we need lots
Well,
more
I mean, you have all
retail.
kinds of small businesses of varying things.
But I'm hearing like a little bit of noise about community amenities, like say a library expansion, which, you know, if a library is expanded, it creates jobs, and a lot of libraries create a lot of services. Then somewhere in here, I saw senior services.
Yeah.
I know that the rec center is tremendous. But I don't know if there are other things that would be oriented towards seniors that aren't specifically, something a little more interesting to seniors that maybe is like an independently run thing. So those are just some thoughts. Whether community amenities is another theme that might sort of dovetail in with the rail trail. In other words, what are the needs of the community that aren't being met by the existing development that's there or the potential redevelopment that could come?
We have almost everything except rock climbing.
Okay,
And
so
we
you
have
need
a-
a rock climbing
We
place.
do have rock climbing if you go up in the mountain. Go climb the rock. We have it's in Fishkill where everybody has to get rescued.
Can you think of anything you don't have? Do you have a farmer's market?
A farmer, yeah, we do. Well, I said we do in the village. They have a farmer's market
Okay.
that comes in on Thursdays
Okay.
during the season. They start. I don't know when they're going to start, but they have it. Now I don't know. They've expanded that restaurant and that mall there, so I don't know what they're going to be able to do it. It's not a big one. It's only about
Right.
4 or 5 vendors.
That farmer's market was one that I went to all the time, and it dwindled down and down and down. I don't know that they had enough participation, which is an unfortunate thing. I used to enjoy it. So I think
Yep.
from my observation and conversation, it was like market demands, was it worth their time to come to that market?
Or is it possible to create a market? Oh, go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, I mean, I know in Peekskill, they actually hired an event planner, a PR person to promote their market, and it's really taken off. I don't know if that's ever something that the town or the village would consider doing.
In Beacon, they have a really amazing farmers market, and they have the
Yes.
same thing. They have a coordinator who works on it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I honestly didn't know we have one.
Well, we don't anymore.
That's the thing. Is there a need?
Well,
Yes.
If you
I
have it in Beacon, you
Sure.
have it in some other places, and it's a lot of people. Then
Well, here's what happens in Beacon. They have a farmer's market. They have like music there every once in a while. They have all kinds of things.
but that's
People
not
come from all over. And then when they're done, they go shopping, they go out to eat, they visit all the small businesses. Fishkill is a good area for that. It would give people one thing that I've heard and that I actually really agree with. Fishkill is a great place to go out to eat, but after you eat, there's nothing to do. So a farmer's market on a, would give people something to do. I think it could be an excellent, endeavor, but it can't just happen organically. Things like that have to be promoted and shared and, managed.
I was also thinking about the rail trail. Like when you take the rail trail all the way out to Poughkeepsie, on the other side of the bridge, every once in a while they have a giant market. I think it's at least twice a year. They have a huge market and events and people performing. And if we had the rail trail here, then you could have some of those pop-up shops or, different people bringing wares in, or the farmer's market or something like that. I think it could all pretty easily go together.
Is there any place where there are food trucks? That's another thought.
Yes.
There's
Anyway,
a hot dog. There's a hot dog cart or truck out by the Route 84 intersection.
Step in the right
on
direction.
52.
Step in the right direction.
And that's right outside Malagiring Park. And we used to have things going on in Malagiring Park. We used to have car shows in there and other things. And
well, I'm going to give you all a homework assignment. And the reason I brought up themes is, one of the things I do is I throw things out, and you are free to throw darts at them. If it means that the committee hammers out a better idea. So so I feel like traffic and pedestrian and site redevelopment are some themes. I don't know about, in other words, when I say community amenities, I think what's missing? What is the glue that's in between going to ShopRite and picking up your groceries or getting your haircuts? What are the things that are missing that maybe somebody could provide a service? Either health services, massage, chiropractic, senior activities that aren't necessarily run by a senior center, maybe a local business offering a senior happy hour. I don't know. I'm throwing it out there as
Liz,
what
we have this thing called All Sport, which a lot of people use.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you know how big that is. It has indoor pool, outdoor pool. All right. The only problem with it is it's on the wrong side of Route 9.
And expensive.
And it's
Right.
it's a private facility.
Yeah, it's not, it's not for everybody, So.
It's hard to get a public one.
Oh, then you got to hire lifeguards.
I think actually I might have seen, there might have been a mention of a swimming pool. I think I saw that.
Yeah,
I think
so
somebody
too.
did,
Yes.
Up there by the Duchess Park.
And of course, the other thing that places like Peekskill and Poughkeepsie and Beacon have that we don't have is a waterfront area. It's accessible.
Yeah.
And I know, and if Brian is still on, he could probably say something about it, but I know the town board discussed that recently with the, there actually is land out right near where I live in Holly Ridge.
It's out.
Down on the waterfront with all the, the surrounding area that got developed by ABR. And they're looking into the possibility of developing that with public access for town residents to get to. So, I mean, there probably are some controversies about it because it would bring in more people and more traffic to the area. And
you have to cross the bridge.
It's limited access, and the bridge access across the railroad tracks would have to be worked out. But it might be something of huge potential for the town long term.
Yeah.
So it's certainly something we should look at.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Jonathan, I was part of a group that wanted to put an aquarium out there.
What was that? An aquarium?
Yeah, aquarium. But that was 30 years ago when AVR was first starting. We negotiated with AVR and then they reneged on it. To give us the land.
I mean, even if you could, I know that Scenic Hudson years ago had a study going where they were trying to help communities at key points, create ways to get over the railroad tracks, because that is a huge, expensive hurdle. But developing any kind of an idea in the comp plan, the more specifics, the wish list around it, that's the kind of thing in the future that, you know, if a project becomes more formulated, it could be a way of seeking different, you know, various types of funding. But access to the Hudson River, you know, planning it could be from Greenway funding. And then, you know, who knows, between Scenic Hudson and maybe some of the consolidated funding application funds. So the more specifics you have, and if you can show that you're going to provide access for people from all aspects of your population. So that's a great idea to develop in, you know, put some verbiage together for that.
Yeah.
Just for your information, Scenic Hudson did buy the Duchess Manor.
Yes.
And that's in Fishkill. That's one of our places. And
Is that
that's
They are actually having a community gathering in a couple of weeks, I think. I saw an email announcement on that.
Yeah, I'll be volunteering there for that.
Oh, excellent. But a lot of people don't know also that that AVR area in back of, you know, down by the river has a town trail that goes basically from the end of Industrial Way, which is the road that goes down to the river, down to the railroad tracks, goes from
Sorry,
there.
John, it's Karen. My mic went out. Can you just repeat the last few minutes of what you just said?
Well, the last couple of seconds.
Yeah, not the few minutes. You know what I mean?
So there's, we were talking about, you know, the possibility of waterfront development. There's already a town trail that was put in when AVR developed all those townhouses back there that goes from the end of Industrial Way, which is the town road that basically goes through the Jehovah's Witnesses property now, down to the railroad tracks. The trail goes southward all the way past all the AVR properties, including the assisted living facility that was built there. And it actually, when you go down to the end of that trail, you get the feeling that you're almost at the Newburgh Beacon Bridge. That's because you are almost at the bridge.
wow.
And so the idea would be to someday connect through with that trail to go all the way to the Beacon train station, connect up with what is going to be the Hudson Highlands Fjord Trail that will connect northward up basically to that area, would allow a continuous link between Cold Spring and all the way up through the, you know, through that part of the town of Fishkill. So talking about waterfront development, we already have parts of it in place, and we just need to put the pieces together to make it bigger and better. Anyway,
Is that the one that's gonna
my idea.
connect to the new trail?
Sorry?
Is that the one that's gonna connect to the new trail? That's the
Which-
new trail that's coming up from Breakneck
Yeah,
down.
yes.
Yeah.
Eventually.
So,
It is.
you know, there's actually a whole regional greenway trail concept,
Yeah, through
that-
Wappingers.
yeah, that would really go all the way up to Albany someday along the Hudson River.
Oh,
Wow.
So that's really forward thinking, but, you know, again, if we start working on pieces, step by step, piece by piece, that's the way to do it.
oh.
all right? We're at 8:48 now.
That's enough.
Okay, now I got a question for you for next meeting. Are we gonna go live or we're not gonna go live? We
I mean,
talked-
for the next meeting, are we going to be in person or are we going to be Zooming?
Yeah, well, that's why I meant live. I mean, in person.
I just want to say this, if we're going to be in person,
Yeah,
I'm going to ask, since we won't be able to share a screen, I would ask that everybody bring all their own stuff because,
we
for
can share,
example, Yeah.
We can share a screen. We can share a screen there.
Well, I guess,
We absolutely can share a screen. We do for all the meetings, all the
Right.
other meetings.
do we have, Greg, do we have that? Can we use that meeting? It would be the 20. Is Greg still there?
Yeah, I'm here. I can certainly look into whether or not we would have the space available for what would be the 22nd of June. As to whether or not we would be able to use the monitor, the giant monitor in the town board meeting room, that would be dependent on us having Pete, our videographer, available for that evening. And I would point out that in the interest of fulfilling our obligation to record our meetings, that we really shouldn't look to schedule any in-person meetings unless we can guarantee Pete's availability. I'll be happy to follow up with him, and I'll copy you on that, Liz, tomorrow. And we
Okay.
can know by tomorrow or Friday if an in-person meeting for the 22nd is feasible, and then we can notify the committee from there.
And it would be in the main meeting room at
Yes, it would.
Town of Fishkill Town Hall. Okay.
Absolutely, yes, the main town boardroom, as that
Okay.
is the room which Pete already has rigged up for his recording and broadcast. So it would be very easy for him to film and keep that so that we can do our regular meeting videos as we've done so far through the
Okay.
Zoom meeting capture technology.
Right. And
And
so,
Liz,
go ahead.
July and August, we only have one meeting per month at town hall. So there is possibly time to have live meetings in town hall on a non-meeting night. Again, we only meet once a month in July and August. Just to throw it
Okay.
out. I'm just throwing it out
Okay.
there.
Oh, no, that's good. That's good. Hang on. I'm just.
You also remember that from June 18th all the way to the 28th is the early primaries.
Yep.
Okay, and unfortunately, I'll be working that June 22nd, so we don't know if it's going to be doing downstairs or it's going to be on the meeting room because we haven't got yet the time schedule. So keep
So
that
does
in
that
mind.
mean the 22nd maybe is not a good next meeting? That's
Well,
something we
we
just
don't
threw
know
out.
yet we don't know if the primary is going to be done downstairs like it's been done lately or upstairs in the meeting room. So that's we
What
don't know
about-
exactly yet.
What about June 29th? Is that any better or is that worse?
But the general elections is June 28th, I believe.
Oh,
That's on a Tuesday. Then Wednesday is the 29th. So
this generally, how does the committee feel about meeting in
Ed,
person?
I thought they moved the primaries.
no. The June primary,
There's a primary in June and there's a primary in August.
August, and there's a primary on October.
No, June and August.
Okay.
There-
And you got the other one.
there's a governor primary in June
Uh-huh.
and a congressional and Senate primary in August.
Right. And then on the October, you have the general.
Yeah, you have
general
early
elec-
voting. Early voting will start late October.
Right. So you got 3 primaries. That's what I'm trying to tell you.
Okay.
We'll figure it out.
Okay.
Can I just ask a question
Sure.
of the committee members? You guys are the ones that are giving of your own time for this. How do you feel about, is there a difference in time commitment for you to go to town hall versus Zooming? Do you have a preference? You guys are the ones that are putting in your own time. So I'd like to hear that, how you feel.
It's okay with me.
Either is fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd like to, at some point, meet in
Yeah.
person and see if anyone from the public shows up to watch us.
Okay.
Well, we all live in Fishkill, so it shouldn't be too much of a hassle, other than Liz.
Well,
Nice.
I'm only up the road. I'm only at IBM Road. I'm
Okay.
not far. It's nothing. It's nothing at all. I'm just asking you
Skipping
because
a
you're volunteers.
Well, I think
Oh.
Greg is going to get back to you to see if we can meet in later on in June, live or not. But I definitely think July and August we should make use of the fact that we have some extra meeting time now with only one meeting for the town board.
So should we not try for the 22nd?
No, I listen. I'd certainly like to keep the train moving. I
Yeah,
mean,
I agree. Yeah.
Hey, John, so there's no meeting for June?
well, you talking about for this committee?
Yeah, no, for the regular meeting.
Yeah, we have a meeting on the 15th.
Okay, thanks.
That's our
Next
last
Wednesday.
meeting of the month.
Okay.
But
so-
June 22nd is open, and I think June 29th is open, but that's also going right into the 4th. So I don't know how anybody feels about it.
Yeah,
Does anybody have a preference for the 22nd or 29th?
I personally, I think the 22nd is probably a better night, only
Okay.
because the 4th is coming around the corner.
That's what I was thinking too, and the committee said the 22nd. Anybody else on the 22nd?
I already have it penciled in, so.
I did
22,
too.
I think is better.
Good.
yeah, me
Yeah,
Just
too.
for that,
penciled
because
in
it's
already.
getting close to the 4th, and people.
Yeah.
Any day you throw out, I got a pencil, unless I'm traveling.
Okay.
So Greg, you're gonna get a hold of Liz about Peter's availability?
Yes, I will. I'll follow up with Pete tomorrow and get back to Liz by tomorrow afternoon or Friday, depending on how quickly Pete gets back to me.
Worst scenario is we have another Zoom call on the 22nd.
Okay. And what I'm going to do in the meantime is I'm going to finish tabulating the paper ones, annotating the Survey Monkey one with the paper survey results. And after that, I'm going to start going back to the structure of the document that we have discussed already. Start to put that together in something more than an outline form. So anyway, I look forward to hearing more about what you think of the survey results, any other themes you see popping out. There's plenty of repeat stuff in here, which is a beautiful thing that your public gave you. So.
Motion to adjourn?
Yes.
Sounds good.
Sounds good to
Second.
me.
Second. Yeah.
Second.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night.